Welcome to Unit 5, Chapter 2, Excel Advanced. The essential outcomes: you will utilize open and closed software to create and format professional business spreadsheets, and you will be using built-in functions and write formulas for business computation in spreadsheet software. The error message in formulas. Excel automatically checks the formulas for errors that you write. For example, a number cannot be divided by 0 because the result is mathematically undefined. Therefore, entering 10 divided by 0 displays an error in the cell. Selecting the cell with the trace error button, you will see displayed to the left of the cell. Clicking the trace error button displays a list of options. Relative cell references versus absolute cell references. Relative cell references are cells that are adjacent to each other. They are grouped next to each other, and there are no blank spaces between them. The fill handle. As you have learned, you may use the fill handle with relative cell references to copy formulas. Absolute cell references are cells that are not adjacent to each other but have spaces between them. In the example to the left, we want to determine the percentage of sales for January. To do this, we need to divide each stock in January by January's total. That would be B6 divided by B18. After calculating each stock's percentage, the total percent for all of the stock should equal 1 or 100%. To calculate the percent for each stock, divide the individual stock by its total. In this case, we would take $54.25 and divide it by the total stock, which is $617.77, in order to get the 9% for Campbell's Soup's January percent. To copy the formula, we normally would use the fill handle. When we use the fill handle to copy the formulas down the column, notice we get the div trace error. When you get an error, start with the first formula and look for error. Looking at H6, we can tell the formula is correct. We want to divide E6 by E18. So now we go to the second formula. If we look at cell E7, the formula is not correct. The formula should be E7 divided by E18. If we look at H8, the formula should be E8 divided by E18. Instead, it's E7 divided by E19. That is because when we use the fill handle to calculate the formulas, Excel uses the cell above to create the next formula for the next cell below. However, the formula in H7 should be using E18 for each of the stock calculations and not E19. To correct the error, we have to understand why the error has occurred. Again, it is because that when we use the fill handle, Excel understands to divide each cell by its relative cell reference. However, in this case, we have one part of the formula, E18, which needs to say frozen. In other words, remain in that one cell as Excel does its calculation. Thus, we have to tell Excel what to do to prevent it from using the relative cell reference. We have three options. We are going to be doing the first option, which is adding dollar signs or hitting the F4 key. To correct the error, we're going to go back to H6 and add dollar signs in front of the cell E18 so that Excel knows to remain frozen using that cell throughout the formula. In other words, E18 must stay constant. To do this, we place the cursor in front of E18 and hit the F4 key. If we do not have a function key, you will have to type in the dollar signs in front of the E and in front of the 18. Then we will hit enter. Now we can use the fill handle to copy the formulas down the column because we have told Excel about the exception. So if we look at the examples now, when we use the fill handle down the column H, notice there is no longer an error. If we look at the actual answers, we're going to see on the example to the right that we have all the percentages in, and when we get to the very last cell, it equals 1 or 100%. To write the formulas for February and March, you would follow the same procedure, except use column F and G to write the formulas. Naming sheet tabs. Sheet tabs are at the bottom of the spreadsheet, and Excel labels them Sheet 1. In Excel 2016, there is only one default sheet. To name this sheet, right-click on the tab and select Rename. Hit Enter. Adding color to sheet tabs. To add color to the tab, right-click on the tab. You will get a drop-down menu that appears, and you're going to select the arrow to the right next to the Words tab color. When you click on that, a box will open that will give you choices of color to use. To the right of the first sheet, you will see a plus sign inside a circle. This plus sign will allow you to add a new worksheet to your workbook. It will be called Sheet 2. The workbook contains all of the worksheets created in a spreadsheet. And a worksheet is the individual sheets inside the workbook. It is very similar to a book. You have a book that contains a lot of pages inside the book. A workbook in Excel contains a lot of worksheets inside the workbook. In this example, you have two worksheets, Investment Worksheet and Sheet 2. The percentage option. To change a cell to percentages, use the percentage feature located in the Numbers section on the home page. First, select the cells. Then click on the percentage icon. If you want decimal places, you can use the increase and decrease icons to the right of the percentage icon. Congratulations, you have just finished the listening part of our 2-1. Now it's time to create a folder inside your Excel folder called Chapter 2. Download the class activity 2-1 from Google Classroom under the About tab and save it inside your Chapter 2 folder. Open up the spreadsheet. Change the font family and size of the entire worksheet to its standard setting. Select the cells in row 3 and bold the text. Place the cursor in cell A17. Copy the formatting in A17 to cells A18 through 20. Under the AutoSum feature, create the appropriate formulas for cells A17 through A20. Continue to the next slide for further instructions. Use the fill handle to copy the formula from E17 to F17 and G17. In E18, find the average using the AutoSum. Copy the formula in E18 to cells F18 and G18. In E19, find the maximum number using the AutoSum. Copy the formula in E19 to cells F19 and G19. In E20, find the minimum using the AutoSum. Copy the formula in E20 to cells F20 and G20. Select cells E5 through G20 and add the accounting numeric formatting to the cells. Continue on to the next slide for further instructions. In cell H5, create an absolute cell reference that will determine the percentage of stock sold for the Campbell Soup Company for the month of January. Use the fill handle to copy the formula down the column through cell H17. Cell H17 should have 100% in the cell if you did the formula correctly. In cell I5, create an absolute cell reference that will determine the percentage of stock sold for the Campbell Soup Company for the month of February. Use the fill handle to copy the formula down the column through cell I17. I17 should have 100% in the cell if you did the formula correctly. Continue to the next slide for further instruction. In cell J5, create an absolute cell reference that will determine the percentage of sales or stock sold for the Campbell Soup Company for the month of March. Use the fill handle to copy the formula down the column through cell J17. Cell J17 should have 100% in the cell if you did the formula correctly. Change cells H5 through J16 to percentages with no decimal places. Center the percentages in the cells. Add conditional formatting of your choosing to cells H5 through J17. Rename the Sheet tab and call it 2016 Stocks. Add the color of your choosing to the Sheet tab. Continue to the next slide for further instructions. Add a new sheet to the workbook. Change the sheet name to 2017 Stocks. Add a sheet color to the tab of your choosing. In cells A3 through J20, add a table design of your choosing. In A1, add the title cell style to the cell. Display your formulas when you have finished. Show your teacher your work when you're done. Congratulations, you have just finished part 1.